little song I did. Sean Lee's Ping Pong Orchestra. The song is called Kiss the Sky.
Each day we walk by dozens of people, all coming from very different backgrounds. Some of a different ethnicity, others of a different religion, and many that have grown up in environments unlike our own. Yet, many times their stories are not all that different from our own, even when those stories are being told by undocumented students. These students have shared in the same history classes and have had similar cultural experiences. And many share the same notion that the United States is home. The Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act, better known as the DREAM Act, has been created for these students. And the Act, like so many of the students themselves, has been supported with an open embrace.
Good afternoon, everybody. This morning, Secretary Napolitano announced new actions my administration will take to mend our nation's immigration policy, to make it more fair, more efficient, and more just, specifically for certain young people, sometimes called dreamers. Now, these are young people who study in our schools, they play in our neighborhoods, they're friends with our kids, they pledge allegiance to our flag. They are Americans in their heart, in their minds, in every single way but one. On paper.
And has endured an equal amount of opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I oppose this bill. The DREAM Act is a nightmare for the American people. It insults American workers, American taxpayers, and anyone who believes in the rule of law. American workers should not have to compete with illegal workers for scarce jobs. Over 27 million Americans are out of work, have given up looking for work, or are underemployed.
I'm not a saint, I messed up once. Call me a loser, a failure, a dunce. But as the man approached me, I began to faint. Palms were sweaty, lights seemed dim. Fight or flight, sink or swim.
My name is Cordell Schroa, and I am America. My family and myself came to the United States back in 1989. I was only 2 years old. My grandfather came to this country in 1948. U.S. citizen since 1958, and he had the opportunity to realize his American dream. My dad tried year after year to get us legalized and spent tens of thousands of dollars with lawyers, and still nothing. It's been 20 years. People think it's as easy as just getting behind the line. It's not like that. I feel bad about it because it's like, how is it possible, that people like my father are still undocumented? Having a father that was a U.S. citizen for over 40 years. I graduated in 2005 from high school, and I wanted to get into college. I wanted to join the military, and those options weren't. I couldn't do any of that, and so it's frustrating. The fact that I want to give back. I'm willing to serve this country in military service, and I don't even have the option to do so. When you're shooting down people's dreams, that's bad. And it's bad for everyone, not just immigrants. You strive, you can realize your potential, and you could be a contributing member to society. It's something that this country has prided itself on. And we've seen that, at the turn of the century, we saw how immigrants, changed this nation, for the better, of Irish, of Polish, of Italian descent, how they were able to shape, very much change this nation for the better and make this country better. We are no different than the immigrants of the past.
A lot of debate over the DREAM Act has emerged as a result of conflicting views towards the impact that this act would have on the education system and jobs, in fear that it would affect the economy.
This is a bill that gives amnesty to 2 million or more people in the country illegally. It encourages fraud and more illegal immigration on a massive scale. There have been no hearings on this bill, no amendments allowed, and those who are opposed only have 30 minutes to discuss this bill. This is a desecration of the democratic process and an insult to Americans who believe in the rule of law. The DREAM Act hurts millions of Americans who have lost their jobs, are underemployed, or are threatened with layoffs. It puts the interest of illegal immigrants ahead of those of law-abiding Americans.
Little by little, limb by limb, how we managed to survive here for 20 years is still a mystery. Fresh in school like glycerine, but now it's time to rewrite history. Blast off time is now dimethyltryptamine. Straight out of your time machine, it's time to let go.
I come here this evening to say to you, yes, let's give the Dream Kids an opportunity. They are American in everything but a piece of paper. They are just like my children and your children. But I say, too, give them a chance. Give them the opportunity. The opportunity this Congress will not give their mothers, who are today finishing and toiling in Salinas, California, picking the fruit. Their mothers, who are in sweatshops in New York tonight, finishing their labor. Their mothers, who are in meatpacking plants in Iowa, sweating under terrible conditions. And that same despair and inequity and unfairness and injustice that their mothers suffer, let's say that this Congress will not allow them to suffer. Let's say that their work, their sweat, and their toil will be responded to by this Congress by saying their children will not suffer the consequences of an inaction and unfairness of our immigration system. We know that there are millions of undocumented workers, their parents, who work and sweat and toil every day to make this nation a greater. They were wrong about the Irish. They were wrong about the Italians. They've been wrong about immigrants in the past, and they're wrong about the immigrants today and these children of immigrants. Let this Congress stand as it has stood before for immigrants.
Many would argue that the DREAM Act will have a negative impact on society economically. In many regards, it will have quite the opposite impact. In fact, this act will help to promote a better educated, more active society. Allowing undocumented students to access in-state university tuition costs will dramatically increase the number of undocumented students that receive a higher education. This will grant them the opportunity to become more involved members in their community, helping to better their community, state, and nation. The DREAM Act, in many ways, will benefit us all.
We have always drawn strength from being a nation of immigrants.
Tired of playing my chances on the roulette wheel. 2011, it's time for a new deal.